going to talk a little bit of baseball actually to start this next segment. And we're also going to bring in Arun for this as well. Let me just change up our graphics real quickly, and then we will. I think it's MLB.
That Rangers Astro series got real interesting until tonight.
Yeah, very interesting, and it looks like the road team is going to win all the games, a la a World Series that we look back on fondly in 2019. So, Arun, have you watched any of this baseball or any of this game?
Yeah, Scherzer started Game 7. He pitched only a couple innings, but he did better than the other guy for the Astros, Brown, and the bullpen for the Astros has been pretty terrible, and the Rangers took a big lead. Last I checked, it was 8-2, but I don't know what the score is now.
I think it's now 10-2. It was 10-2. Troy is saying in our Facebook chat. So thank you, Troy, for keeping us updated there. It's at a commercial break right now. That's why I took down my score bug. I have been having a score bug live on Twitch, and we've been following it right now. It's 3rd and 6 in the San Francisco 49ers game. Kittle escapes, throws across his body. Wow, right on the floor. He caught it. I think they're saying, did he touch the ground or not? Oh, they're saying that he picked it up off the ground and it's a first down. Be interesting to see if they here's the replay. Oh, it definitely touches the ground. He sells it well, but that is a horrible call. It's not even close. It's like on the ground for like 2 seconds in the slow-mo. It's 4th and 6. Yeah, they switched it to the right call. 13:26 left in this fourth quarter. It looks like they're gonna have to punt here, but it's been an exciting Monday Night Football game, and this baseball game has kind of been a bit of a laugher. It's I'm sort of surprised and how this has kind of failed for the Astros, but I'm not a big Astros fan, as we've highlighted before in this podcast. So it is 10-2 now. I'll put the score bug back up on Twitch. But hopefully people are liking the live score bug. All right. So Arun, the other game, Philly had a chance to finish their series off against the Diamondbacks, and they unfortunately didn't do it, or in my wife's opinion, fortunately, she believes that it's going to make it a recession if they win the World Series. So she's rooting for the Diamondbacks. But today in Philly, the Diamondbacks won 5-1. They had a big second inning, putting up 3 runs. Philly put 1 back, but then that was the last run the Phillies would score all day. And then Arizona scored 1 in the 5th and 1 in the 7th for that 5-1, forcing a Game 7 in that game. Arun, any thoughts on that series?
Yeah, the trio Nats, they struck out Schwarber, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper in the 5th inning, and after that it was kind of like a wrap after they only scored 1 run, as you mentioned, and Gurriel and Pham homered, and it was good enough for the Diamondbacks to come up on top. And I guess it'll come to, hopefully from an entertainment standpoint, the Game 7 is more entertaining than this one.
Yeah, I hope so too. So Game 7 will be tomorrow. I'm just making sure I get it right on which network it's on. It'll be an 8:07 game, and that will be on TBS. So that'll be an interesting matchup between the 6th seed and the 4th seed here, Tina brings up a good question. Who are we rooting for? I went to college in Philly, and of all the different Philadelphia teams, I like them the most. I know that Nats fans probably don't want to hear that, but I did root for Philly before the Nationals even existed. And so, I have no tie whatsoever to Arizona, and there's a lot of former Nationals, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, so yeah. My dad has always thought that you kind of want to root for your league and your division, even if you can, just because it kind of shows that you're in the best division. I don't know how much that works out, but I kind of subscribe to that unless it's the Cowboys. I'll never root for the Cowboys and in any sort of capacity. But the Eagles have been in championships before, and I've rooted for them over the Patriots. And yeah, Tina says, I'm with you. I'm rooting for Philly and the team playing the Astros. Yeah, exactly. So it looks like Texas is going to move on. They've got Alex Bregman for Houston's up to bat right now, bottom of the seventh, 2 outs here. They're running out of time pretty quickly, so they're going to have to make huge strides here. Again, down 8 runs. Champ, have you followed any of the baseball news? Oh, Champ.
What's up? Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was asking if you had followed any of the baseball news or
No, I haven't really followed much of it, but no, like I said, I've been kind of keeping up with it a little bit, mostly the ALCS because of the fact that it's gone to 7 games. And both series have gone 7. So it's like both teams are gonna, like, whoever comes out of these championship series are gonna have the same amount of games played in their league championship series as they go into the World Series. I am kind of hopeful that the Rangers can hold on because, Astros, we all know what they're all about. And so we don't want them back in the World Series again, whatever. NL side, I'm kind of on the side of the Phillies because I have a friend who's a Phillies fan. So I would like to see the Phillies in the World Series. I think a Phillies Rangers World Series would be very, very interesting, to say the very least, especially given the fact that, Scherzer can get a chance to go up against Bryce. I'm pretty sure that'd be a great matchup. That'd be an intriguing matchup. 2 former Nats. Imagine.
Yes, it would be pretty interesting, especially because Scherzer and Trey were on that championship team together. Tina's saying that she liked the picture of your dog, Arun, so I thought I'd give her a live action shot of Lily and passed out during the show. Right now the score is still 17-22, second and 11 for the Vikings. It's still 10-2 in this baseball game. But it's been an interesting night so far. I'm hoping Philly is able to pull it off. I was hoping that Philly would win tonight because I have a friend who's a diehard Phillies fan, and every time I suggest that he come on, if they win, they lose. So I did 2 weeks ago. They lost to Atlanta. I didn't offer last week. They won on a Monday night. It was game 1 or 2 of this series, actually. And then I said, hey, if they win, you should come on again tonight. And then they lost. So he's like, please stop inviting me onto your podcast. So I was hoping, but that did not work out. Yes, so Tina said, look at, she's passed out. Yeah, she is out. So but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's kind of cool that both series went to a game 7, which, as somebody who isn't a diehard fan of either of these teams, at least it makes the sport a little bit more exciting. Yeah, with that, I think we've kind of exhausted our baseball talk. Unless Arun, you have any final thoughts?
No, I just saw that the Phillies fans left early. They wanted to avoid the traffic, but there's time, I guess, always for a 4-run deficit. But I guess people were saying it takes 2 hours to leave the parking lot, so not great. Doesn't look good, but it's reality of today's world that people just leave early.
Yeah. All right, let's switch gears. I'm going to do the NBA graphic. And we'll pull that up real quickly with our Wizards talk. So I'm going to pull up our scores from last week, and we'll preview this upcoming week as well. So I'm just pulling that up right now for the Wizards. They had so the regular season starts on Wednesday, so that'll be exciting. The 2 games I guess we didn't talk about, or no, we talked about the Charlotte game last week, is that right? Yeah. So we
Yeah,
started
I
the
think we
Charlotte
did.
game. Yeah, we did. So we went to New York, and we won that game 131-106, and then we lost at Toronto 134-98. I'm gonna go through the scoring of both games real fast, and then I'll let each one of you guys talk about both games as well. Poole put up 41 points in this game against the Knicks. And I thought that the team, played pretty well overall. It started off pretty close. The Knicks actually outscored the Wizards by 2 in the first, and the Wizards put together a great second, scoring 36 points and only allowing 21. Both teams scored 30 in the third, and then the Wizards outscored the Knicks 36-24 in the fourth quarter to take a 12-point lead in that one, and just a dominating 131 to 106 lead. I guess I'll let Champ, why don't you talk about that game first?
All righty then. We talk about the Knicks game where Jordan Poole went off with 41 points. Let me tell you something. I don't know what to make of Jordan Poole, guys. I don't know what to make of him, because he scores for over 40 points against the Knicks in one game, and then in the Raptors game, the next one, which we haven't talked about, but he scored 7. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know how to read that, to know, hey, this is a guy we can rely on to get us scoring and to make us a better team. This is a rebuild year for the Wizards, and you don't have Kristaps, you don't have Beal. I don't know. This Knick game gave me a good indicator of some of the positives that this team can do, honestly. Again, defensively is one of the things that's going to be a struggle if they could try to shore that up. And that's always been a problem with this team for the last several years. Since I've been a part of this Wizards roundtable, defense has always been a problem. But now, hopefully you find some scoring from guys like a Jordan Poole or anybody else, then Denny Avdia, who they just, by the way, they signed into an extension this week. They did with Denny Avdia, so Avdia's going to be hanging around for a while. The Knicks game gave me a good point to look at for the upcoming season, but I'm still worried. You're muted, Robbie.
Thank you. Sorry, I was I'm happy I was muted, but I logged Lily on to Zoom so she could be part of this conversation. But yeah, I'm happy that they're bringing back Denny. I think that we're making some good moves, and we're hopefully building towards a future. But I'm interested to see how we do this year overall. But Arun, what are some of your thoughts on this first game against the Knicks?
Yeah, Jordan Poole is going to have great nights and he's going to have terrible nights. And people after this game against the Knicks, there were already lots of Wizards fans proclaiming that Jordan Poole is better than Bradley Beal. Let's take it one step at a time. Especially since he's only shooting, I believe, like 30% for the entire preseason. That includes a game where they played a bunch of scrubs in an Australian team. And Jordan Poole only averaged single digits, I believe, against the Lakers in the playoffs. So it'll be really nice if Jordan Poole can get a couple 60-point games like Kevin Garnett, as predicted. But let's just take it easy. He's not really yet even a top 50 player, but if he gets there, that's nice. But let's settle down with the Bradley Beal. He's already better than Bradley Beal. There's a reason why he was available for the Wizards, and hopefully he just becomes like a positive player. But he's going to have great nights and he's going to have terrible nights like he did leading up into the next game.
Yeah, let's talk about the next game. Denny played well, scored 18, but Poole put up 7, and it's just overall it's a pretty bad defensive effort for the Wizards, which I think is going to be their big struggle, is that they still haven't really solved what they're going to do on defense. and just night in and night out. I think until they can figure that out, we're not going to be able to consistently string a lot of wins together. The Raptors outscored us 31-24 in the first. It was a close second. We actually outscored them 28-27. And then the Raptors put up 43 points in the third, and the Wizards only put up 22. So it's a 21-point lead in just that quarter. And then they ended up in the fourth quarter. The Raptors put up 33, and the Wizards put up 24. Champ, what are some of your thoughts on that game?
It just seems like that third quarter, that seems to be the Achilles heel for this team, regardless of preseason, regular season, postseason. Oh wait, we haven't been in the postseason forever. Never mind. It seems like once they come out of the half, it seems like they come out flat. And that's what happened here. They let this Raptors team just walk all over them coming out of the half. And again, the struggle was on defense. And that seems to be, we have a coach who's supposed to be a defensive minded coach, yet this team can't play defense to save their life in a lot of instances. Someone make it make sense, honestly. But this is where I had my worry about Jordan Poole. He went from having over 40 points to only having 7. He only played 19 minutes, granted, but the fact that he only scored 7 points in 19 minutes, that's where I get nervous, because I'm like, you're supposed to be the big, the big acquisition, the big thing we got from the trade, and supposed to be coming in and this, that, and the third, and you're already up and down, and we're only in the preseason. Like, we haven't even started the season yet. You're already up and down, up and down, up and effing down. Like, I don't like roller coasters, by the way. I just want to put that out there. I hate roller coasters. And that's what I see from this kid is a roller coaster of production. And I don't like it at all. I don't.
Yeah. Arun, what are some of your thoughts on this game?
The positive, you pointed out, Denny had a pretty solid game. At least the Wizards, they didn't have Kyle Kuzma, so they can use that excuse. But even just more, the defense is just really bad offense. Jordan Poole with 7 points, but what's even worse, he had a 7% field goal percentage. And I don't even know when the last time that's happened. 7 points and 7 field goal percentage, 1 of 15 from the field. Gafford, he was pretty quiet. Also, only 4 points. Like, Poole's bad night made Daniel Gafford, people forget about him. He wasn't good. DeLon Wright, he had a pretty solid game, but it just feels like he's on the wrong team. This is like a rebuilding team, and he'd be great on a contending kind of team. But I feel bad for DeLon Wright, but he's playing well. He probably played well defensively. Patrick Baldwin Jr., he's probably going to be out of the rotation. He was pretty bad. And I guess Johnny Davis, he's also out, so maybe he can play better. And we'll see what happens if Corey Kispert can get it going. But team with length, like the Raptors, they have Otto Porter, and a lot of super long players, and their rookie is Grady Dick. So let's see if Grady Dick can get it going for the Raptors as a rookie, the white American from Kansas.
Yeah. So big play there. Fourth down converted there by San Francisco. They just did a sort of a dive there. Also, Texas the Rangers just scored another run. Now they're up 11-2 in that game. And but Brock Purdy, a big rush there to get a first down. Again, they rushed on third and short, and they didn't get it, but they stuck with it and did it on fourth, and was able to get it. And oh no, interception. Oh, somewhere Anna is upset. Just threw an interception to the Vikings there, and just a really bad throw. And it sailed on him, and that's disappointing. I thought there's a chance that it hit the ground. I just wanted to check the replay here. So he steps back to throw. He throws it in the middle. Nope, he just let's see here. Did he trap it? Any movement? Nope. It looks like that's actually a good catch there. They'll take over on the 30-yard line. Big stop on first down there for a loss. So yeah, 5:20 left in this fourth quarter. It's still a lot of the game to be played. San Francisco has 2 timeouts and the Vikings have 3 timeouts. Again, this is the 5-1 San Francisco 49ers right now losing 22-17 to the 2-4 Vikings. And so it'll be interesting to see how this game goes here. And
This has been a weird week of football.
yeah, for sure. Oh, going deep. Oh no, pass interference or illegal touching downfield, but either way, it's gonna give him a first down, 441. Yeah, pass interference. Yep. Anyway, this is frustrating. Again, 11. Oh, it's 11-3. I'm sorry, in the Texas Houston game, and oh yeah, he hit him way early. It's a good call. 2 games upcoming this week. We've got the Indiana Pacers at Indiana at 7:00 on Wednesday, and then Memphis Grizzlies at home on Saturday, also at 7. And then next week, there's a 7:00 game against Boston that we'll be doing a post game live for. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on that game. I'll start with you, Arun. What are your thoughts on playing the Pacers and Memphis?
The Pacers, the Pacers are probably. I mean, it's going to be the growing theme of the season. The Pacers are going to be favored to win, and Tyrese Halliburton, who the Wizards didn't take, and they took Denny instead. He's an all-star. He played for Team USA, and he really stood out. And that's the player to watch. And they were 22-18 when Halliburton played, and they look like a playoff team. Like if they can stay healthy, let's see if the Wizards can get up for this game. They're going to be an underdog in all of these games probably this season. A lot of them.
Yeah, Champ. What are some of your thoughts?
So I looked at because I have the sports app on my phone, and I looked at it, and of course their power rankings have Washington at dead last. They had the Pacers somewhere around 15th or something like that. So clearly there's going to be a lot of people picking the Pacers to win this one. But I think if Jordan Poole, Denny, and Kuz and them can really get out the gate and score early and often, as well as play some really solid, sound defense, I think that this team can actually pull this off and win on the road. It's not going to be easy, especially when this is going to be the first time that everybody's going to be gelling in a regular season game. But I think that they can do it, and I think they will do it. But it starts with defense. Number one, you got to play deep. You got to play sound defense, and you got to get some scoring. So if they can put all that together, I think they can open the season with the win.
Yeah.
And they also have they signed Bruce Brown from the Denver Nuggets, and they acquired Obi Toppin from the Knicks. So should be an interesting roster for Indiana. And maybe the Wizards can win. It's a long season, and we haven't seen the Wizards yet in action. So hopefully they come out with a win. But I'm predicting a loss here.
Yeah. What are your guys? So you just gave the Indiana predictions. What are your guys' thoughts on the Memphis game for game 2?
Go ahead, Arun.
Yeah, no Ja Morant, no Tyus Jones is just acquired from Memphis, but they did acquire Marcus Smart, and they have Jaren Jackson. Steven Adams was just ruled out for the end of the season. I think this game is more winnable because it's at home, and the Grizzlies are a little bit shorthanded, so maybe the Wizards come away with the win here.
And also one thing to note is with the Memphis game, one thing I forgot to note is that the Wizards did add to their front court depth. They added in John Butler Jr. on a 2-way contract. He actually played on a 2-way contract with the Blazers last year, only averaged 2.4 points, but he only played 11.6 minutes. So at least you add some kind of depth to your front court. Now, for the Memphis game, this is going to be interesting. It's the home opener, so hopefully you get a nice packed house. You get a fired up crowd. Yes, it's a a rebuild year for this team. And then of course, if you get the victory on Wednesday in Indiana, you have some more hype and some motivation and things like that. But like Arun said, you don't have Ja Morant. He's out on suspension. You may have Kuzma back, so you never know what could happen there. Hopefully, all the pieces come together. And again, like I said with Indiana, play sound defense, score, and I think you could beat this Memphis team that is a beatable team. It's a beatable team, honestly.
Yeah. All right, last game is going to be Boston. We're going to be doing a post-game show, so I'll have you guys give your real-time reaction to the end of the game / right after it next week. But I'll start off with you, Champ. What are your thoughts on Boston?
This is our bitter rivals, honestly. Like when you think of rivalries in sports, you think of Texas, Oklahoma, you think of Washington, Dallas, and you think of the Wizards and the Celtics. I mean, you remember the blackout game years ago. I mean, this is a heated rivalry, but we also know that Boston is one of the toughest teams in the Eastern Conference. So this is a game where it's going to be an early test for this rebuilding Wizards team to take on a team like this. There's no guarantee that Al Horford will play because I think they'll be coming off a back-to-back, so he might be resting. But this is going to be a true test of this team. They have to take on a team like the Celtics at home to see where they stand in terms of the Eastern Conference. So I think they need to look Boston in the mouth, punch them in the face, and then kick them out of their arena and say, go back to Boston. We'll see y'all there next time.
Yeah, I'm going to hold it here for a second. It's a big third down, and Kirk Cousins escapes, and he gets it, and then that is going to be the ball game, except there is a flag. So I'm very curious about what this flag is because it really could change the complexion of this game here. Holding. Oh, it's holding on the defense. It's declined. Yeah, this game I think is going to be over. I feel so bad. We gave Anna the night off so that way she could watch this game, and that's a good call. But he was able to catch it anyway. And yeah, well, I guess that's just disappointing because all of us, I believe, had the 49ers, except for I think Hurt, so that he had the Vikings. So I mean he's had a hell of a week this week. So but yeah. Arun, what are your thoughts on this Boston game?
Yeah, Porzingis comes back. The Wizards last time they blew out the Celtics, surprisingly, when Beal and Kuzma didn't play, but Porzingis had 30 plus points, and now he's on the Celtics. And I don't really think I think the Celtics will have that on their mind that they got blown out, and I think maybe it's a back-to-back, and maybe the Wizards can keep it competitive because the Wizards do seem to play the Celtics tough, but I think the Celtics should, if they keep their focus and they actually remember that the Wizards beat them last year, I think Boston should beat the Wizards.
Yeah, Tina does mention the game isn't over. That's true. San Francisco used their timeout. It's second down. They will have the 2-minute warning. So they could get the ball back with about a minute left, but they won't have any timeouts, and it's going to be a bit of a struggle, but it isn't over. So so that's good. And welcome into CT as well. I just want to thank everybody for all the support over the last couple of weeks. Just Shabs gave a sub earlier, helped us hit our 20 goal, and last week we unlocked through our subathon the ability to have this haunted thing. If people don't know or they're not watching live on Twitch, our normal layout looks like this. It's red, and it's very basic, and it's our colors, but we started a Halloween command that you can do, and it swaps the layout, and we'll be using it next week for our Halloween special. But since we had already unlocked it, I made it this weekend. You got a lot of animated characters in it. We got live Pokemon you can catch, and so It's kind of fun that you can toggle it back and forth. Any of the VIPs can do that, and so I thought that was kind of fun as a thing for people to be able to do. We'll also make it a redeem in the future that if people want to turn it on spooky mode, they'll turn it on for like 60 seconds later on after it's no longer Halloween time. And so yeah, it's been a lot of fun talking all these different sports with you guys tonight. I'm excited to talk about that game live next week as well. But I'm gonna get any final thoughts from Arun on any of the sports that we've talked about. I know that he didn't really get a chance to talk much about the Commanders. If you wanted to give his thoughts on that as well, I do want to give a little shout out to the Ravens for kicking some butt against the Lions. I know that Tim's not here this week, but I was excited to see that at least yesterday as one of the two games I was watching. But Arun, any thoughts on the NFL action from this past week, or anything else you want to talk about before we end it for tonight?
Yeah, Giannis just signed a contract extension, 186 million over 3 years, so he's getting paid 62 million over the next each year, so that's good for him. The Commanders, I just think that Howell, he did a great job avoiding that pass rush on the one play, but he threw it a little bit behind Dotson. Maybe Dotson, if he's a little bit better, he can make that catch, but you can't really have those kinds of games against the Giants, who don't look that good, to be honest. And yeah, the Denny deal, very good deal, I think, for the Wizards. He's actually getting paid like less than the mid-level exception, so good signing for the Wizards. And hopefully he actually plays better and hits his threes like he did against the Raptors. And that's about it for my thoughts.
Yeah, well, I just want to welcome in our Raiders, KR Acoustic. I was actually thinking about rating you tonight, but you beat me to the punch. And so thank you. This is actually one of the largest raids we've ever had. So welcome on in to the 19 viewers joining us from KR's stream. KR Acoustic is an awesome streamer out of Canada, a musician, someone I mod with, and a close friend of mine. Yeah, it's super nice to have you here, and we're just finishing up our talk about some sports. We've been talking football and hockey and baseball and basketball, but welcome on in, Fry. Actually, it's funny that our next game, at least from the hockey point of view, it's against Toronto. So that game is going to be tomorrow, I believe. So that's always a tough game. So I look forward to those matchups. And we didn't really get time because our hockey talk was a little brief, just because we were trying to record a podcast within a podcast within a show. And we also needed to get Hurt in as well in the first hour. But I hope that you had a great stream, KR. I hope that you're having a good one, Fry, and anyone else that came in on the raid. This is a show where we talk sports mostly. I do sometimes do arts and graphics. You can see here. I also teach people how to make interactive displays. Like we can make a tree come out of nowheres and attack people, and you can throw snowballs at us, and we can light us on fire. And I'm always trying to do different things. You can also play Pokemon games with us as well in chat if sports is not your thing. But we also make emotes here and do some other cool stuff. We have a new emote that we just unlocked last week. It's the Mew one. It's really cute. The Mew peeks in, flies through the screen, gives a heart. I'm super happy. It's the longest like storytelling emote that I've ever done. And then we also have the fire emote as well. You can see the Charizard shooting a fireball. And then a little bit of a programming note and other stuff. I hope to make a new one for our sports animated emote. That's the next one that's going to be updated. I'm hoping to update that by not next week, but the week after that. And I really like these animated displays that we're doing for our live show. And so I may end up doing some more of that kind of work. And on top of that, there's talk that more animated emotes are going to be opening up for affiliates. and also for partners. And if that happens, I might start raffling off animated emotes where I can make, if you give a certain amount of bits, you get a cool emote designed by me on my channel, or I can even give it to you for your channel as well if you're a streamer. So those are some ideas I have coming down the pike. Also, Twitch lifted their exclusivity ban for affiliates. And so now we can stream on all platforms as long as we're not directing people off it, not being like, hey, we're streaming live here on Twitch, but actually come talk to us on Kick. As long as we're not doing things like that, and we keep the engagement on Twitch, we're allowed to stream on both. And so that'll be really exciting because all these bells and whistles and effects that we're affecting live on Twitch will finally be able to be seen on our Facebook feed, and there won't be like, what the heck is he talking about? And so there's a couple things that are popping up. And welcome in Armed and Irish. Nice of you to join us as well. So got a big group with us tonight, so that's really exciting. Arun, thank you so much for being a part of the show as always. We're going to cover the last couple of seconds here before we let you go. There's 34 seconds left in this football game. The Vikings are up 22-17, but the 49ers have the ball. It's 2nd and 10. They're on the 40-yard line of the Vikings. And so we'll see what they're able to do with no timeouts. Again, 33 seconds left. Kittle steps up, throws it, and throws another interception.
Heartbreaking.
Wow. Oh God, I feel bad for Anna.
He had a Kirk Cousins night tonight.
Yeah. So Kirk Cousins.
No shot. Kirk Cousins won a primetime game. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, Herc called it. He said he was due for one. So yeah. Wow. What a game. We'll pull up the scoreboard real fast here. If people are watching the baseball, Texas Rangers are up 11-3 over Houston. We're at the top of the 9th here. Yeah, it's been a fun night. Tina loves some Kirky. Yeah, I'm happy too. Commissioner Mundo 444, is Darren Waller worth the week in and week out start? I hate the gamble so much as a Vikings fan. Finally. Well, welcome on in to chat. It's nice to see a Vikings fan able to celebrate the big win for you guys. They needed this win. But as an Astros fan, no. Oh, it's you got a bit of a mix here. Astros did just get an out there. So the Vikings do beat the San Francisco 49ers 22-17 and an exciting game. It does look like that the Rangers are going to win this game. I'd be pretty impressed if Houston's able to, in the bottom of the 9th, come up with 8 runs, but you never know. But thank you everyone for tuning in and being a part of the show. I'm going to probably end our I want to do our football. I want to do our wrestling talk with the champ, but I'm going to let Arun go. Arun, anything you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I just saw that the Wizards just waived Todd Gibson and Xavier Cooks, so they just gave Todd Gibson $3 million. So I guess he collected $3 million to do nothing. So shout out to Todd Gibson, and no Gilbert Arenas or RG3 facts today, and hopefully there'll be some next week. So stay tuned.
Yeah. I don't know why this no spots command isn't working, but Arun, I really appreciate you as always. For being a part of this show for the last 8 seasons and 7 years. So thank you for your versatility and coverage of all different topics. And we'll talk to you next week for our Halloween special.
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
All right, champ. Here's your opportunity to let all of our listeners know what's up in the world of wrestling, your top maybe 2 or 3 stories, and let people know what's on your show this upcoming week.
Well, one of the big stories, or a couple of big stories, came out of Impact Wrestling this weekend. Impact Wrestling had its Bound for Glory pay-per-view, which is their version of WrestleMania. It's their biggest show of the year. They had their Hall of Fame induction ceremony during the pre-show, where Tracy Brooks, the original Knockout, and the original voices of TNA, Mike Tenay and the late Don West, were inducted into the Hall of Fame. They had a really good show. The only downside to the show was they had an advertised Knockouts World Tag Team title match, but they ended up recording it before the show got on the air and sent it out as a digital exclusive instead of putting it on the pay-per-view. So that's the major down for me. But the other big story that came out of this past weekend is that Impact Wrestling is reverting back to its original name of Total Nonstop Action, TNA. So they're going back to what they were 20 years ago. When they started off, they were NWA TNA, then they were just TNA, then they went through Impact, Global Force Wrestling, and then Impact, but now they're going back to TNA, and the rebrand of TNA will begin in January for their Hard to Kill pay-per-view. Is being called TNA Hard to Kill. So that's a big step for Impact, which has proven to be a very strong third major brand in North America in terms of wrestling. So coming up this weekend for the No Spots podcast, myself and Sith are going to recap Bound for Glory and talk about that pay-per-view. We're also going to talk about what's going on this week in wrestling. Crown Jewel is just around the corner. So a lot of build for that on Raw and SmackDown. NXT tonight, tomorrow, Tuesday night is going to be night one of Halloween Havoc, which is headlined by Becky Lynch defending the NXT Women's Championship against Lyra Valkyria. We'll also talk about Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. They're all revolving around the upcoming Full Gear pay-per-view, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. And then, of course, Impact. It'll be fallout from Bound for Glory, and fresh off the announcement that they're rebranding the TNA. So make sure you tune in. We'll be streaming it live on Sunday after the daytime football games are done at 7 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod. And the audio will be up on Amazon Music and Spotify and Google Podcasts.
Sounds good. Yeah, everyone go check it out. And I think that Champ does a great job. I'm gonna do the Champ command one more time. And definitely go check out his podcast. It's a lot of fun. I'm out over there. And Commissioner Munoz said, I watched Kurt Angle and RVD's legendary runs in TNA. Just fell off when it changed the Impact, in my opinion.
Angle in TNA had a very notorious nickname when he was in TNA. He was known as Perk Angle because he was crazy off Percocet during his time in TNA. That's why he was doing all the kind of crazy shit he was doing. But luckily he's clean and sober now. But no, get back into Impact, Commander Mundo, because Impact is really doing some great things. If you have Access TV, definitely watch it. If you don't, I think it's worth the $5 a month to become an Ultimate Insider on their YouTube channel, because then you get to watch Impact commercial free every week for free, and you get to watch the Impact Plus events that are not pay-per-views for free, and you can buy the pay-per-views on YouTube. Basically, it's the same, like you buy the pay-per-views on YouTube as well if you're an Ultimate Insider. So I think it's worth it. I've been doing it for the last 2 years because Xfinity doesn't have Access TV, but because we cover Impact, I needed to find a way to watch it, and it's been the best investment I've made in my time doing this podcast, being able to have that Ultimate Insider and watch Impact commercial free every single week.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely think people should check it out. With that, I'm going to end our audio podcast for the people that are listening live on Facebook, and then we will try to find a place to raid as well. So thank you for everyone for listening on the audio side or on our Facebook as well. Next week, we'll have our big Halloween special. Hopefully we'll find a way to beat the Eagles and be a trick for them. It'll be a treat for us. And so that would be great. We've got our first week of real live NBA action. It's not preseason, including a post-game talk for the big game against Boston. And in between that, we hope to have Hurt back and Dujunnea back, and of course Champ to talk a bit about all of the football. And then our first segment will be, I think Anna will return. We're gonna have 4 games to cover. It'll be a big show. C4 is going to one of them. So a lot to try to squeeze into a 2-hour show. We'll see if we can fit it all in, but it's always our goal to cover all the DC sports without the politics. Sports on the Hill podcast has again been episodes number 318, where we talk about Caps Talk, Misery Monday, and MLB Playoffs and Wizards Talk. Right now we're in the bottom of the 9th. It's still 11-4 now, but it looks like they're going to hold on for that, and it's been a fun football game as well. But thank you everyone on Facebook, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Let's go Caps, let's go Wizards, and let's go Commanders.
Recording stopped.
All right, so we are out on all of those things. So thank you everyone that was over there. And thank you guys on Twitch for sticking with us. We still got 12 people in here. Let's try to find a cool place to raid. Thinking about there's a lot of really cool places that we could go to. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas, Champ, of just general genres, and you tell me what you're into the most. There's somebody who is kind of a bigger streamer that makes dinners and desserts, and it's called a Date Night In. It's kind of like a cooking channel. We've got somebody who is usually a scam baiter, who I love and is hilarious, but he's playing Fortnite. We've got a makers and crafting stream that's a little bit smaller. We could always go to a music stream as well. Champ, what are you feeling? What sort of direction do you think we should go? We could go visit T-Pain, although I think that our 12 people will get drowned out in our 1.2K people, but you could visit T-Pain. I'm
thinking the Fortnite stream, because one of the channels that I mod for on Kick, she's been playing a lot of Fortnite recently, so I'm digging the Fortnite stuff.
You know, I've always wanted to raid him. He's usually a daytime streamer. He does scam baiting. We're gonna give him a quick little shout out. Andy says I vote for a Date Night In. I've got their hoodie, and let's see here. It's Laz is the guy I was thinking about doing. He's a scam baiter who's pretty hilarious and really fucks with scammers, which I kind of love during the day. And it's a little bit different than what we do. But I do like a Day Night In. I will give it a shout out. And I will even give them like a real shout out. So anyone not following them and they like the idea of learning about like food and things like that, definitely give them a follow if they're watching right now. But I do think I'm going to give Champ the prio here, and I've really wanted to find a way to raid this guy, but he's during the day and I never get to, so we're going to join him real quickly. It's rated for mature audience, our raid and our sub raid. Please join us on that. Thank you everyone for helping us hit all of our goals this month. We're gonna have new goals set up next month, especially when they add new animated emotes. But really appreciate everyone for tuning in and getting the raid from KR, Tina for the bits, just everyone for the support. It's really warmed my heart to know that there's a place on Twitch for sports. And I know when I started doing this a couple of years ago, there wasn't a lot of people talking sports, and so there's now a whole new sports category on Twitch. And if I don't know if you saw, Champ, but we're actually streaming in that sports category now, just to see if people come in and want to see a little bit different than just talk shows, which could be anything, and why not? And it should be cool. But thank you, Andy, for modding. Appreciate you, Champ, for modding as well. Everyone definitely go check out the No Spots podcast. And with that, we're going to raid, and we'll see you next week for our super Halloween spectacular. Should be a lot of fun. And Champ, any final thoughts?
No, not really. Have a good night, y'all.
All right, sounds good. And we're off.